Why most people fail before they turn 30. Most people don't fail after years of trying. They fail early, they fail quietly, they fail before they even turn 30. Not because they weren't smart, not because they weren't talented, but because no one told them what truly matters in their 20s. If you're under 30 or even over it, this might be the wake-up call you never knew you needed. First, we need to talk about success. Most people chase the wrong definition of it. They think it means a fancy job, a car, a house, approval from everyone. But real success starts with understanding yourself, not the world's version of you, the real one. In your 20s, everyone will give you advice. But here's the truth. No one says out loud, most advice is recycled noise. And listening to the wrong voices is the fastest way to lose your own. You're told to go to school, get good grades, land a job. But no one tells you how to build confidence, how to handle failure, or how to think independently. That's the education system's biggest blind spot. Your 20s aren't for proving yourself, they're for building yourself. But too many people waste those years chasing applause instead of building skills. They wait for motivation to strike. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for permission. And while they're waiting, life moves on. One of the biggest traps is comparing yourself, scrolling through highlights of people your age who seem to be winning. You don't see their pain, their failures, or their sleepless nights. You just see the illusion and think you're behind. But there's no timeline. There's no rule book. Success is not a race. And being early means nothing if you're going in the wrong direction. Most people fail before 30 because they fear looking stupid. They don't try new things. They don't take risks. They don't ask questions. So they never grow. The world rewards action, not perfection. But in your 20s, perfectionism is a silent killer. It convinces you to do nothing until it's perfect. But nothing ever is. You're allowed to fail. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to not have it all figured out. In fact, that's exactly what your 20s are for. But here's the brutal truth. Most people don't just fail once. They fail at failing. They take a hit and never get back up because no one taught them that failure is feedback, not defeat. Your 20s are when habits take root, and most people build habits that destroy them. Scrolling for hours, avoiding hard conversations, running from discomfort, seeking shortcuts. Shortcuts lead to long-term regrets. It's not that they can't succeed, it's that they never develop the discipline to show up daily. They think talent will carry them, but talent without discipline is a ship with no sail. Another silent trap is the belief that there's plenty of time. You tell yourself, I'll start later, I'll fix it next year. But time isn't promised, and momentum is priceless. Most people fail before 30 because they don't take themselves seriously, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that says, my time matters, my energy matters, my life matters. You can have fun, you can explore, but don't confuse escaping with living. Here, something no one tells you. The best investment you will ever make is in your mindset, not stocks, not crypto, not real estate. Your mindset will determine the quality of every decision you make, and most people don't even know what mindset they're running on. They adopt their parents' fears, their friends' limitations, their culture's narratives, and then wonder why they feel stuck. Most people fail before 30 because they chase success externally and ignore the internal. But every breakthrough in life starts with self-awareness. If you don't understand yourself, you'll keep chasing things that don't fulfill you. The 20s are when your brain is still wiring itself. It's the decade when your identity is still forming. If you're not intentional during this phase, life will shape you by default. And default settings rarely lead to greatness. Most people surround themselves with comfort, friends who agree, routines that numb, environments that don't challenge them. But you grow through friction, not ease. The fastest way to level up is to level up your circle. Find people who think bigger, who question everything, who push you to rise. Isolation is dangerous, but surrounding yourself with the wrong people is worse. Most people fail before 30 because they lie to themselves. They say they're trying when they're just wishing. They say they're improving when they're just distracted. They say they want it, but their actions scream otherwise. Clarity is power. And most people live in confusion because they never take the time to get clear. What do you truly want? What are you willing to sacrifice for it? Who do you need to become? These are the questions that shape your 30s and your life. The truth is, failure before 30 isn't final. It's common. It's part of the process. But staying in failure, that's a choice. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do need to start asking better questions. What if instead of asking, "What job should I get?" you asked, "What problem do I want to solve?" What if instead of asking, "How do I make money?" you asked, "How do I create value?" That shift alone can change your entire path. Your 20s are your foundation, not your final form. Build habits, build relationships, build resilience, because that's what carries you when motivation fades. You have time, but not forever. You have potential, but it means nothing if you don't act. The next 10 years could be filled with excuses, or they could be the decade you look back on and say, "That's when everything changed." Not because you had it all figured out, but because you decided to stop running from your future and start creating it.